As Congress prepares to consider military action in Syria, protesters turned out Saturday in New York City and in front of the White House. They demonstrated what public opinion polls are showing repeatedly, that the American public doesn't want to get involved.
We say no more!
But disregard for public opinion in such matters is hardly new.
2/3 of Americans say it's not worth fighting. So you don't care what the American people think?
No, I think you cannot be blown off course by the fluctuations in the public opinion polls.
Fast forward to a different time, country, and administration, but the disconnect between a president and a people remains. A CNN poll released Monday found that 7 in 10 Americans think airstrikes wouldn't achieve significant goals or be in America's national interest.
Why would you put down a regime and hand al-Qaeda or a terrorist group a rule of a country?
President Obama acknowledged, however, that the government could move forward without the American public on board.
Ultimately, you listen to your constituents, but you've also got to make some decisions about what you believe is right for America. And that's the same for me as President of the United States. There are a whole bunch of decisions that I make that are unpopular, as you well know.
If congressmen don't listen to their people, so excuse me, then there is no democracy anywhere.
President Obama claims that an intervention is necessary to, quote, maintain the international norm on banning chemical weapons. But only 33% of Americans recently polled agree that such an intervention would be an effective deterrent.
That's ridiculous. What do you want to send a message by killing more people?
Another talking point has been that American credibility would suffer if we do not intervene. But once again, the American public just doesn't see it that way. 74% of Americans recently polled claim that, to the contrary, they believe it likely that we will suffer significant blowback with an intervention in Syria.
And all it will do is further drive hatred towards the United States for acting so arbitrarily around the world, which can only create blowback that's dangerous to the American people.
Syrian Americans also came out to plead with Congress and the president.
I have my entire family. I have my mom, I have my sisters, my brothers, my cousins, everybody that I love. And I'm so passionate to see once again this war, if it started, it's going to take all this out of my heart.
And protesters questioned the evidence of chemical attacks being presented.
There's a lot of reports that it's the rebels that are doing the chemical warfare. There was an accident that they dropped some weapons. Who knows what really happened?
These Baltimore residents were hoping their representative, Elijah Cummings, would listen to voters like them.
We sent a message to say we'll never forgive him if he does, if he votes for the war.
In a radio interview, Cummings recently admitted,
"Let me tell you something. When you've got 97% of your constituents saying no, it's kind of hard to say yes."
Meanwhile, Senator Dianne Feinstein of California, head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, doesn't share Cummings' struggle about the phone calls her office gets.
What's coming in is overwhelmingly negative. There's no question about that. But you see, then they don't know what I know. They haven't heard what I heard.
It can't be very democratic, both of you keeping secrets from the American people, and if you vote against what you know your constituents don't want.
Though a large chunk of Congress reportedly remains undecided on the resolution, outside of Congress, constituents have been clear.
Everybody's saying chemical weapons is bad. Everybody knows that. But it's not America's business what's going on. We're not the world's police.
We have brains. We can use our brains and do something peacefully.
In Washington, D.C., Karina Stenquist, RT.